is ultimately an outsider at all stages of his life.
You see him have all these odd jobs. He's on a quest to find out who he is, where he came from.
One of the unique things is that he's an alien.
No, so many Christians. Where do I come from?
What world do I belong to? Is it this one or is it another? Do I have another father on another planet? Who am I?
He's kind of lost in the world and doesn't really have a place.
Starting the movie from that point of view allows the audience in because they share those same questions and insecurities about their places in the world.
One of the things that's really important to Jor-El to try to communicate to his son is that the strength that he has. It's a huge responsibility.
His teachings are all about leading from the front, being a shining hope and example, and not hiding what it is that you are.
There'll be no God. No killing.
No. He'll be a god to them.
Instinctually, when something bad happens, he is able to react. And when he reacts like something nobody's ever seen before.
Jonathan teaches a slightly more careful approach. He's more protective of what Clark is.
Things happen as he grows up where people know that he's different and they're hiding this secret.
Desde Krypton hasta Smallville, solo nosotros tenemos la jornada épica del protagonista de Man of Steel aquí en The Pelicula.
The world's too big, Mom. Then make it small. Focus on my voice. Pretend it's an island out in the ocean. Can you see it? I see it.
So obviously I got very excited when both of you were announced and sort of gave me an inkling of what kind of movie it was going to be, but I wonder from your perspective, were you open to sort of be part of the new Superman mythology, or what convinced you?
Well, it had to be open for me that it was going to be different because I wasn't in love with the other three. I mean, I saw them, and I thought, wow, interesting. But Zach was the tipping factor for me.
How about you?
Well, ditto. I mean, Zach is the man for the job in terms of rebooting or reinventing the story, in terms of going deeper into the thinking. What was he thinking? What are they thinking? What were they talking about beforehand? We understand the plot, but more of the heart that is actually asking the more interesting questions.
The Kents are iconic within the lore, but I think this is the most human version, or complex version, at least. I wonder how much of I'm a parent of twin boys, and it struck me a chord of how much being supportive. So I wonder how much you thought about that, or the type of parenting and how challenging that is while doing these roles.
Yeah. Well, Zach said that's what he wanted to do. And, sometimes directors will say anything to get somebody like Diane or myself or other actors somehow to come into a movie. But he was, true to it. I've had a lot of people say, we're going to do this. It's called lip service. And and it doesn't always translate. You go, well, I thought you wanted to try to do this, but, you're not interested in slowing this thing down at this particular moment. And
a real investment.
Yeah, and he did. He was very true to his word.
I wonder if the way that your climactic scene happens. I wonder how much you think he thought he wasn't ready, or as a sort of a conflict about sort of protecting him or setting him up. I want your take on that from your character's point of view. Kevin.
Yeah, well, I think that little boys aren't ready for a lot of stuff. I mean, for instance, I'm not going to take my 6-year-old to see Superman. I decided that last night because it's awesome, but it's too much for him. For him, at least in my mind, and he's a boy that likes to play in the dirt and play hard.
Right.
But I think it's too much, and my heart sank a little bit because I was going to take him to New York. But I think that same consideration I'm having of him is the same consideration that we both applied, which trying to talk him out of that little closet, which is it's part of the job. It's the job to kind of judge when your child's ready. It's a judge to whisper near you are ready, and you're not ready. So, but that's the deal.
You're not just anyone, Clark. You were sent here for a reason.
The fate of your planet rests in your hands.
I'm going to stop you. You can say
What are you smiling about, Captain?
I just think he's kind of hot.
Seguimos con de películas y como pudieron ver, esta Man of Steel tiene un montón de acción y un montón de destrucción en pantalla y ahora nos toca hablar con Zack Snyder, el hombre a cargo de todo eso.
All right. One of the things that impressed me so much about this is that it sort of reinvents the mythology. It keeps everything that we like, but I wonder what about that excited you the most? Because there are a lot of aspects about looking at the script.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me it was really, I was excited by all, I'm a fan of the characters, so I'm excited, of course, by all the sort of standard mythology, Kansas, Krypton, you know, Fortress of Solitude, all the normal stuff. But I think for us, from the beginning, it was about, okay, how do we layer in now that next level of sophistication that allows those things to be real, you know. It allows the audience to understand them, not just from a leap of faith standpoint, but from like a real, oh, I saw that happen, that's real.
Okay. I showed you the picture. I just wonder, I think it's perfectly emblematic of the fact that for this generation, it's going to be defining, you know, Superman.
Yeah.
Mostly like maybe the Donner films for us.
For sure.
Within making $1 million, you know, picture, did that ever come into play? Because, I mean, you got enough pressure as it is.
Yeah, you know, it did and it didn't. I mean, it does. It comes along with Superman, the responsibility of making him work, because I always say, like, you know, like, he's the king daddy of the DC universe, you know, and frankly, he's the most iconographic superhero of all superheroes. You know, the S is you know, known throughout the world, you know, and so, you know, I really wanted to just make sure. I guess the big challenge for me was like, let's put Superman back where he belongs, you know.
Okay. The other thing is, I think this is your best film, and I'm a fan of your previous work, so I wonder how much do you think this challenged you to a new level, or how much do you think all your director muscles that you already been flexed helped you with this one?
Yes, for sure. It came along at exactly the right time in my sort of career, especially from a visual effects standpoint, being able to, because of my understanding of visual effects, and I sort of had a seamless, we were able to do visual effects, I feel like, that are part of the story and really help tell, even dramatically, what's happening. We don't need to stop for visual effects now, where maybe in the old days you'd be like, okay, we're going to do the visual effects now, everybody get ready, get on a wire or whatever, you know, some little stuff like that. So now it's just like, no, they're talking, when Superman can fly out of that, and no one needs to, like, because we know how to do it so well, it can just, we're not burdening the actors with all this, like, you know, oh, we're going to put you in your wire now and blah, blah, blah. So I think it has some, for me, at a perfect time.
Okay, cool. The other thing, your producer mentioned that Henry was in play from the very beginning. Why him?
Henry got put on our radar by my casting directors, and they basically said, this guy's really cool, he's been up for it before, blah, blah, blah. And then his tape came in, and we've been looking at a bunch of guys, and he did a really great job with just the little readings that we had him do. And then we brought him in to look at him for real, and we had considered other guys that we were going to also put film, you know, to look and see how they looked on film. But once Henry put the suit on, we were pretty much like, okay, it's, who else do we need to cast for this movie?
No, that's the thing. She's just so right for it.
Yeah.
Given that, I think because you are also the right director for whatever comes next with Superman, you think, you know, I think you're in it for any other incarnation? Yeah,
I mean, I guess for me, if there was another opportunity to do another Superman, I'd be very, like, excited to try and do some more. Because I feel like, you know, we got him to the Daily Planet, and that's it, right? So what else?
Visitar amigos y familiares. Es así de fácil. Por JetBlue. ¿Quieres trabajar en un lugar de película? Para celebrar el estreno de The Internship, Fox está abriendo las puertas de sus oficinas en un concurso bien especial. Entra al Facebook de 20th Century Fox Puerto Rico para más detalles. Déjalo en guapa, que regresamos con nuestra entrevista con Henry Cavill.